Stranded. First tonight on our news, live at 7, at least 2 Bahamian students are believed to be stuck in Qatar as tensions rise in the Middle East. This as Bahamians here at home react to travel bans and restrictions to keep them safe. Plus, building new relationships. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation Chester Cooper is connecting new routes to Canada as uncertainty looms in the travel market. Jerome Sawyer is live from Canada with the latest. Meanwhile, 1 week after Police Reserve Inspector Lennox Williams was brutally killed, a woman is arraigned and granted $10,000 bail after being charged as an accessory. We've got details from court proceedings. And then in our news at 7:30, disturbing and unacceptable. That's how the Bahamas Educators Managerial Union is describing an attack on one of its members recently. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Berthany McDermott in for Candino Knowles. The attention is on the Middle East tonight after Iran fired back at U.S. military bases in Qatar and Iraq today. It comes less than 24 hours after the United States fired on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. In both incidents, no lives were lost. The issue, however, creating a frenzy in parts of the world concerned about the impact on travel and trade as tensions are intensifying. Our Delvado Emmanuel hit the streets as Bahamians react to the rising threat of war.
I don't totally understand what's going on, but at the end of the day, I don't want to see anyone, in a war getting killed.
That's the sentiments made by most Bahamians I spoke to, with Iranians' missiles flying and U.S. forces on alert. Bahamians say the headlines feels all too close to home. Many here have loved ones living, studying, or working in the U.S. and say these rising tensions are cause for concern.
We have a lot of Bahamians in the United States of America, and I have family in America. And I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I pray that, some resolution come to the situation.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen to them. I just pray God that they'll all be safe and all go well for them because there's some serious times going on.
Government has issued a travel alert and urged Bahamians to utilize security precautions when traveling to high-risk areas like Washington, D.C. and other large cities. Still, with uncertainty growing, many are leaning on faith and hoping for peace over politics. Others are rethinking travel plans entirely, worried about being caught in the crossfires of global conflict or the economic fallout that could hit the Bahamas hard.
I'm not traveling to the U.S. anytime now. I'm traveling, but it's actually not through the U.S.
My main concern is a lot of issues, especially since I think it was last year when they had the shutdown, when someone hacked and all the planes and everything. So that was more of my concern, especially when everything's becoming so digital.
No, I don't have no concerns about traveling. Only about the war was going on and the thousands of people were dying, especially babies.
And beyond the headlines, there's also economic anxiety. A full-scale war could send energy prices soaring again, triggering global market instability and squeeze small island economies like ours in an unexpected way.
There's a saying that if America blow their nose, the Bahamas catch the cold. So anything happen in America, it do affect the Bahamas. And there is a great concern.
Tourism might decline because of a war. And obviously that's going to affect the Bahamas, so I wouldn't want to see a war happen.
Reporting for our news, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
Thanks, Delvado. And 2 Bahamian students are reportedly stranded in Qatar tonight. Jerome Sawyer is in Montreal, Canada, traveling with the Deputy Prime Minister who spoke to the unfolding crisis and its potential impact. He confirmed that officials are unable to say how many Bahamians may be in the Middle East, adding there is a real possibility others are there but have not yet made their presence known. The government is also keeping a close eye on any long-term economic fallout from the conflict.
I do know that we have 2 young Bahamian women who are studying in Qatar. They're at the Qatar Aeronautical Academy. They've reached out to us about being evacuated. Despite our best attempts, the airspace is now closed, so they're going to have to ride it out and follow the emergency orders. We are in touch with them. They're in good spirits. They're not in harm's way, but they're naturally concerned and anxious about the next few days.
Well, still to come in our news at 7:30, our Jerome Sawyer is back with more from the Deputy Prime Minister and those Bahamians stranded in the Middle East. Back here at home, the recent 5% cut in value-added tax will bring an additional cut to government revenue. That's according to Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkitis. In his budget communication, Prime Minister Philip Davis announced that effective September 1st, government will slash VAT by 50% on a list of items like baby and adult diapers, feminine hygiene products, medication, and medical and dental supplies. Halkitis telling us the decrease in revenue is expected and feasible.
It's in the tens of millions. I mean, when we did the food, it was 30 million. We estimated, perhaps about, just over $10 million. But when we look at a budget of near $4 billion, we see that in the scheme of things, that is an amount that is manageable.
This is the second VAT cut for the year. Back in January, Davis reduced VAT to 5% on food items, including fresh fruit, vegetables, baby food, lunch snacks, and frozen food. That took effect April 1st. Meanwhile, the Economic Affairs Minister says through the continuous growth of the economy and revenue initiatives, the government will cover the loss.
For example, with the domestic minimum top-up tax, which impacts the multinationals, those that are about $1 billion in revenue, what we're doing to ensure that we incorporate all of the activity of the private cruise destinations, etc. We expect to have some gains from that and our compliance in other areas. And so we'll have some gains from the growing economy, we'll have some gains from our improved administration. And so anything that we lose, we feel confident that we can make it up elsewhere.
The growing crisis in the Middle East top of mind even now for tourism officials as they look to expand its markets up north. This week, the Global Sales Mission is in Canada, a market they hope could help to support the industry should we see a global slowdown in tourism. Our Jerome Sawyer is in Montreal tonight with the Minister of Tourism. Jerome, you spoke with him early on this morning on a number of issues. What can you tell us?
Well, that's right, Berthany. Of course, we are in Montreal, as you said, at the Jerome Ferrer restaurant. No association, I promise you. But we are here, as you have also said, at the Global Sales Mission, the latest stop for the Ministry of Tourism. But the timing here could not be better, and here's why. For one, Air Canada has been coming to the Bahamas for 78 years. This, of course, is the perfect opportunity to begin to expand Air Canada's route. They currently come into New Providence. They also go to Georgetown, Exuma, and to San Salvador. But there's a lot of potential here for growth, and here's why.
We have seen much of the protests of Canadians as it relates to some of the policies of the USA. We are a friendly, welcoming country. We have a long-standing relationship with Canada. We have 78 years of partnership with Air Canada. Toronto is less than a 3-hour flight direct to Nassau, and therefore all of the pieces are aligned.
Deputy Prime Minister and Tourism Minister Chester Cooper leading a tourism delegation in talks with Air Canada Monday in Montreal. This announcement following that meeting.
We're having a new service from Ottawa to Nassau and from Halifax to Nassau. We have increased capacity from Toronto as well as directly from Montreal. Well, we're going to be making an announcement later this week as well of another airline coming to the Bahamas directly from Canada.
The news is against the backdrop of two issues with the potential to impact the tourism industry. Firstly, the pullout of Silver Airways services to the region, to which he's confident Bahamas Air's increased airlift, along with American Airlines and some other smaller domestic flights, can actually make up. And more recently, fears of a possible slowdown in travel as that crisis in the Middle East escalates. Cooper and his team are eyeing Canada as the next great market with potential.
We are significantly increasing airlift to the Bahamas. Air Canada is increasing its capacity and flights by 50%. This is tremendous, a great opportunity for travel to the islands of the Bahamas. So they are going not just to Nassau Paradise Island, but they're going to all of the islands that they can explore, where there is adventure, where there's beach opportunities, sustainable tourism. They're very conscious travelers, and therefore we expect that many of the communities all across the islands of the Bahamas will experience the new travelers from Canada to the Bahamas.
So you see, there are a lot of optimism from the Deputy Prime Minister about what this market could hold. This is the first stop on a two-city tour in Canada. Tomorrow it's on to Toronto for more of the same. But in that conversation with the Deputy Prime Minister today, we really spoke about a lot of the concerns that really form the backdrop of this trip, that Middle East crisis, top of the agenda. He speaks in depth about that in a later interview. But for now, we are in Montreal. Au revoir, as they say. We'll be back. Berthany, back to you.
Thanks so much, Jerome. Our Jerome Sawyer reporting live from Canada. We'll check back in with you at 7:30. Another young man gunned down in the streets of the capital Sunday, pushing the country's murder count to 40. Our Danielle Miller was on the scene and filed this report.
It was shortly after 7 p.m. on June 23rd when officers responded to a shooting incident in front of a residence on Taylor Drive in the Bamboo Town area. There, they met a resident of the home, a man in his early 20s, unresponsive. Emergency medical services examined the victim and pronounced him dead on scene. Press liaison Chief Superintendent Sharia King addressing media on the scene. She confirmed this bit of information based on initial investigations.
Well, what we can tell you thus far is that the victim, along with a group of males, were socializing in front of a residence on Taylor Drive off Victoria Boulevard, like I said, in the East Street South area. When occupants on a motorcycle pulled up, one of the occupants came off of the motorcycle, opened fire on the victim, fatally wounding that victim.
King confirmed that none of the other men were shot. When asked if the victim was known to police, she gave this response.
As we always say, information that we provide the general public at this time may impede or compromise our investigation. Right now, this male in his early 20s is our victim, and we are going to investigate this as our victim to ensure that the family of this victim gets justice.
Reporting for our news, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks, Danielle. Well, a 44-year-old woman accused of helping the men responsible for the murder of Reserve Police Inspector Lennox Williams has been charged. Antoinette Henfield stood before Chief Magistrate Roberta Reckley, charged and as accessory after the fact to the June 15th murder. Williams was shot dead as he made a deposit at the Royal Bank of Canada in Palmdale. Prosecutors allege that Henfield picked up Williams' killers after they ditched their getaway vehicle. Henfield was not required to enter a plea to the charge and was granted $10,000 bail. She's back in court on September 14th to receive voluntary bill of indictment papers. And it was shortly after 3 p.m. on Sunday when the R News team got notice that a small vehicle was engulfed in flames in the Huffers Plaza on West Bay Street. When we arrived on scene, firefighters had extinguished the blaze. Patrons did not want to appear on camera. However, they said it happened quickly and the owner of the vehicle was able to collect some of their items out of the car before the flames consumed that car. We were also told the owner was not the sole occupant of the car. Some say they heard plopping sounds as the windows and tires burst open. The person we believe to be the owner of the car declined to comment. It's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Good evening, Greg.
Yeah, good evening, Berthany, and a happy start of the week. This is the last week of the hurricane season. We have one little system out there in the far North Atlantic. We'll tell you about that later on in the newscast. But a warm and breezy day around the islands today. Temperatures managed to get up into the upper 80s. We're settling into the mid 80s right now. 85 is our current temperature. East-northeast winds at 15 miles per hour. Feels like temperature is at 89. Temperatures right now around the chain of islands. It's 78 in Freeport, 82 in Marsh Harbour. We pick up 85. Alistown, Bimini, Nicholstown, Andros here in the capital as well. Great Harbour Key, 84, 83 in Governor's Harbour. Central Bahamas, 84s. Kemps Bay, Black Point, Exuma, Georgetown. Pick up 83s, Arthurstown, Cat Island, Coburn Townsend, Salvador, and 83 also in Deadman's Key, Port Nelson, Rum Key, 82, Southeast Bahamas, 82s, Duncantown, Ragged Island, Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands, more 83s in Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, Matthewtown, Renagua, Abrahams Bay. Your temperature right now is at 81. Satellite radar composite, we have a weak surface trough near the Southeast Bahamas. generating some cloudiness as well as some showers and isolated thunderstorms across that area. An upper level disturbance across the area also helping to trigger some showers and thunderstorms. But the high pressure at the surface is staying with us and it hasn't gone anywhere. That's going to continue to keep us with a little bit of a breeze over the next couple of days before we see some increase in clouds and some showers by the middle of the week. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Coming up in sports, not the greatest news about JJ's injury status, and it might take us a while to find the silver lining, but we're working on it.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
When the winds rise and the storm threatens, are you ready? This hurricane season, face the fury head on. RTV's Storm Navigator with me, Jasmine Brown, and meteorologist Greg Thompson as we reveal the truth behind the storms with expert insights and life-saving tips. When the next storm threatens, will you be prepared? Because when nature unleashes its fury, knowledge is your strongest shield. Stay safe, stay informed, only on RTV.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. The New York Liberty's path to repeat as WNBA champions could have hit a major roadblock. The reigning finals MVP will be sidelined for several weeks. The Liberty announced that Jonquil Jones is officially out 4 to 6 weeks with a right ankle sprain. Imaging shows no long-term damage. Jones initially injured the ankle on June 3rd and was out for 12 days. During that time period, the Liberty lost their first game of the season. She re-injured the ankle on June 19th in another loss to the Phoenix Mercury. Jones has been a pillar for the Liberty, averaging 12 points, 9.6 boards, and shooting 44% from three-point range.
Women's professional fast pitch began its 2025 season in the Bahamas, and the Atlanta Smoke emerged as the inaugural champions of the Queens of Paradise Series. The Smoke concluded the 3-game set against the Orlando Monarchs with a 9-1 win Saturday night at the Andre Rogers National Stadium.
We spotlight the production that Bahamian minor leaguers have had this season across various levels in the Texas Rangers pipeline. There are 4 Bahamians currently in the Rangers pipeline. Of course, you know number 1 overall, Sebastian Walcott, but the youngest duo are off to a promising start in the Dominican Summer League. Jalen Pinder has been riding an 8-game hit streak for the DSL Rangers Blue and has moved to the top of the lineup. Dave Neely, also on the DSL Rangers Blue roster, is hitting .278 with 4 stolen bases and scored 4 runs with a .758 OPS.
The Bahamas Baseball Association concluded another edition of its Andre Rogers Jr. Nationals, and after 4 days of competition, bragging rights were decided for 2025. Nationals was once again a dominant show of force for the Freedom Farm Baseball League, who won gold in the under 8, under 10, and under 12 divisions in all matchups against the Grand Bahama Little League.
That'll do it for our sports. Stay tuned to our news at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as Iran fires missiles at U.S. military bases in Qatar and Iraq. Plus, Palestinian activist Muhammad Khalil is free after more than 3 months in ICE custody. A judge ruled the Colombian grad posed no threat and granted him bail. And gunshots were fired outside the home of Guyana's Public Works Minister Juan Edgehill Saturday night. His family is said to be safe and over a dozen shell casings found. We have the details when our news returns.
When the winds rise and the storm threatens, are you ready? This hurricane season, face the fury head on. RTV's Storm Navigator with me, Jasmine Brown, and meteorologist Greg Thompson as we reveal the truth behind the storms with expert insights and life-saving tips. When the next storm threatens, will you be prepared? Because when nature unleashes its fury, knowledge is your strongest shield. Stay safe, stay informed, only on RTV.
Get ready for the new Charlie Banana Show. That's right, banana, B-A-N, Nana. You know how to spell banana. You know, right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212 every Friday night. It's the Charlie Bahamas Show. It's the season rewind of the Charlie Bahamas Show right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212. Ain't no bananas in this, except he did try to get on the show. Hey, where'd you get this outfit from? Your closet.
When the winds rise and the storm threatens, are you ready?
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Iran has fired missiles at U.S. military bases in Qatar and Iraq. It's the first major response after American bombers hit Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend. Qatar says several missiles were aimed at their airbase, but all were intercepted. No injuries were reported, and officials say the airspace is secure. Iran claims the number of missiles matched the bombs dropped by the U.S. The attack aired live on Iranian state TV with music playing and banners declaring it's a mighty response to U.S. aggression. Meanwhile, rockets also struck the base in Iraq. A senior Iraqi official confirmed the strike to an international media outlet. Details of the damage remain unclear. 7 B-2 stealth bombers are back in the U.S. after a secret mission targeted Iran's nuclear sites. The long-range bombers flew 18 hours round trip, hitting key underground facilities in Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan with bunker buster bombs. U.S. officials say the mission was not about regime change, but aimed at halting nuclear progress. Officials say the damage is visible from space. Palestinian activist Mohammed Khalil is free after more than 3 months in ICE custody. A judge ruled the Colombian grad posed no threat and granted him bail. Khalil was reunited with his wife and met his newborn son for the first time. He was among the first arrested under a crackdown on pro-Palestinian student protesters. Khalil says no one should be jailed for peacefully protesting genocide. The former Colombian University student and activist spoke at a rally with supporters on Sunday.
That's why the administration has tried its best to portray me as someone who's violent. Mahmoud Khalil is a human rights defender. Mahmoud Khalil is a freedom fighter. Mahmoud Khalil is a refugee. Mahmoud Khalil is a father and husband. And above all, Mahmoud Khalil is Palestinian. While I'm grateful to be here with you all, I must say that this is only the beginning of a longer fight towards justice.
A suicide bomber opened fire during a church service in Damascus, Syria, before blowing himself up, killing at least 20 people and injuring over 50. The attack hit the Mar Elias Greek Orthodox Church on Sunday. Syrian officials blame ISIS, saying the attacker was linked to the terror group. It's the deadliest church attack in Syria in years and raises fresh concerns about extremist cells operating in the war-torn country. The Oklahoma City Thunders are NBA champions after taking down the Indiana Pacers in Game 7, 103-91. It's the team's first title powered by star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's 29 points. He's now Finals MVP and joins an elite list. Indiana's comeback hopes faded after star guard Tyrese Halliburton went down with an Achilles injury. Despite the Pacers' push, the Thunder's defense sealed the win. And gunshots were fired outside the home of Guyana's Public Works Minister Juan Edgehill Saturday night. He says his family is safe and over 15 shell casings were found. The minister said his wife was in the yard of the residence when the incident occurred but was not hurt. This comes just weeks after a fire, now suspected to be arson, destroyed a church property linked to him. Police haven't said if the two incidents are connected, but an investigation is underway. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was June 23rd. And then in our news at 7:30, our coverage on the ongoing war in the Middle East comes back into focus as Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper raises concerns for Bahamians stranded in Qatar. And keeping an eye on oil prices, what an ongoing war could mean for prices at the gas station and electricity bills. That's coming up when our news returns.
The winds rise and the storm threatens. Are you ready? This hurricane season, face the fury head on. RTV's storm navigator with me, Jasmine Brown, and meteorologist Greg Thompson as we reveal the truth behind the storms with expert insights and life-saving tips. When the next storm threatens, will you be prepared? Because when nature unleashes its fury, knowledge is your strongest shield. Stay safe, stay informed, only on RTV.
Get ready for the new Charlie Banana Show. That's right, banana, B-A-N, Nana. You know how to spell banana. You know, right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212 every Friday night. It's the Charlie Bahama Show. It's the season rewind of the Charlie Bahama Show right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212. Ain't no bananas in this, except he did try to get on the show. Hey, where'd you get this outfit from? Your closet.
When the winds rise and the storm threatens, are you ready? This hurricane season faced the fury head-on. RTV's Storm Navigator with me, Jasmine Brown, and meteorologist Greg Thompson as we reveal the truth behind the storms with expert insights and life-saving tips. When the next storm threatens, will you be prepared? Because when nature unleashes its fury, knowledge is your strongest shield. Stay safe, stay informed, only on RTV.
My name is Trevi Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area.
On this day in Bahamian history. In 2015, Philip Davis, who was then Deputy Prime Minister, declared he was ready for the job of Prime Minister. Then in 2016, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram addressed questions about a possible return to frontline politics. This as the party was preparing for convention. And in 2022, Prime Minister Philip Davis continued to champion the cause for climate change at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Rwanda. For the full details on these stories and more interesting facts that shaped the day that was June 23rd, head over to rnews.bs. Well, following 4 days of grueling competition, Mako Aquatics reigns victorious yet again for the 7th consecutive year in the 2025 Bahamas National Swim Championships. Our Sasha Lightborn ended the meet and filed this report.
Was how the night ended, with Mako Aquatics taking home the Bahamas national swimming title for a 7th consecutive year. After 4 grueling days at the Betty Kelly Kenning Aquatic Center, with both morning and evening sessions, Mako accumulated 3,109 points, along with 278 medals. That's 129 gold, 83 silver, and 66 bronze.
It feels good, man. 7 straight at Grifter, 7 straight at Nationals. This one feels good. But besides all of the points, the swimmers swam amazing, a lot of records, a lot of personal best times. So it's good to see the hard work and the goals that we set out and put in place in September really pay off over the 4 days.
And as is customary, the winning team jumped in the pool once they collected their trophy. McPhee also coaches his daughter, Isabella Monroe. She took home 9 gold medals.
She keeps on, making me proud. Grifter, she did outstanding. This weekend she did outstanding again. All personal best times. So Isabella, she's swimming well, and I'm really looking forward to see her swimming career develop. And next year she has another year in this age group. So we're looking to break, a few more records.
Mako swimmers also broke several national records during the meet.
So we have the best coaches in the country, and all of the records really showed. That shows that they are the fastest swimmers that passed through these national games over the past 53 years. So very exciting that these swimmers did that.
Placing second was Alpha Aquatics with 1,381 points, followed by Barracuda Swim Club with 1,330 points, Blue Waves with 1,115 points, and Black Marlins with 475 points to round out the top 5. Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightborn.
Thanks, Sasha. Well, to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, visit rnews.bs. Well, that does it for our news at 7. Joining us now is our Atalia Hall with the latest headlines. Good evening, Atalia.
Good evening, Berthany. Thanks so much. Former North Abaco Member of Parliament Darren Henfield says they are disturbed following reports of vandalism at the Hurricane Shelter and Community Center in Abaco. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on our news live at 7:30, tensions are rising in the Middle East and 2 Bahamian students are stranded in Qatar as Iran launched missiles at a U.S. base there earlier today. Government is monitoring the situation closely. Our Jerome Sawyer is live in Montreal with reaction from the Deputy Prime Minister. Also, many are worried about the cost of trade and fuel. Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkita says government is concerned but hoping for a quick resolution. And later, a 28-year-old man is now facing child pornography charges after U.S. border officials allegedly found nude images of minors in his phone. And a shocking attack on a school principal has sparked outrage in Grand Bahama. The Education Ministry and the Managerial Union are both condemning the act, the union calling for safety in schools when our news live at 7:30 returns.
Sasha Lightborn here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow all of the R News social media pages to make sure that you don't miss those top stories from the team you already trust.
Welcome to Paradise Games, where exceptional service meets the ultimate gaming experience. Our dedicated team is here to make every visit a win.
Now this is paradise.
This is more than just a place to play.
Now this is paradise.
It's where excitement meets world-class service.
Now this is paradise.
Now this is paradise.
Come, experience it for yourself. Now this is paradise.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Welcome to our news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. 2 Bahamian students stranded in Qatar as the crisis in the Middle East widens. The latest escalation of fighting today as Iran sent missiles at U.S. airbase in retaliation for American strikes over the weekend. Tonight, the government is concerned about the safety of these and other Bahamians in that region, while also eyeing future economic impact. Our Jerome Sawyer is in Montreal, Canada tonight, traveling with the Deputy Prime Minister who spoke to the crisis. Now, Jerome, I know you've had a chance to speak with the Deputy Prime Minister. What can you tell us tonight?
Well, you're right, Italia. We are in Montreal accompanying the Deputy Prime Minister and other tourism officials at the Global Sales Mission here in Montreal. Tonight's event at the Jerome Ferrer restaurant. I can assure you no association between the 2 Jeromes. However, earlier today we had an opportunity to question the Deputy Prime Minister about the potential impact of the crisis in the Middle East. It was at that time we found out about the fate of the 2 Bahamians now stuck in Qatar.
We don't directly engage in conflict.
But choosing to remain out of the fight doesn't lessen the impact for the Bahamas. Targeted American airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities have drawn retaliatory strikes on U.S. air bases in Qatar and Iraq. Deputy Prime Minister and Tourism Minister Chester Cooper confirming for our news there are at least 2 Bahamians trapped in Qatar.
I do know that we have 2 young Bahamian women who are studying in Qatar. They're at the Qatar Aeronautical Academy. They've reached out to us about being evacuated. Despite our best attempts, the airspace is now closed, so they're going to have to ride it out and follow the emergency orders. We are in touch with them. They're in good spirits. They're not in harm's way, but they're naturally concerned and anxious about the next few days.
Even ahead of Monday's strikes, the airspace was closed to Qatar and in other countries, and that means no airlift out of that region.
We've spent a lot of time and resources nurturing Middle Eastern markets, and of course, many of the Far East, India, etc., connects through Dubai to come to this side of the world. So there's definitely going to be some interruption in travel and some impact on the overall economy.
There's also potential impact on fuel and gas prices, with Iran now threatening to close the Straits of Hormuz, responsible for at least 20% of the world's oil and gas movements.
We know that when there is uncertainty, we know that people tend to travel less. We know that where there is disruption in connectivity, there will be disconnection as well in terms of travel to the Bahamas, or disruption in supply chains, disruptions in supply chain in the normal routes of traffic of shipping or air cargo, etc., result in increased costs. And increased cost of shipping or travel trickles down to the consumer.
So, Italia, although we are pretty much early in this crisis in the Middle East, there is still a lot of potential impact. The Deputy Prime Minister telling me that officially they do not know of any other Bahamians in the Middle East who may be trapped or cannot get out for whatever reason. However, as he pointed out, Bahamians may not always declare when they are in a particular country, so they're keeping an eye on that. In addition, he did point out that the government has put into place a lot of mitigation efforts to try and cushion Bahamian consumers from external shocks. He went into detail about a lot of them. Of course, we are as a part of an upcoming special of On the Record, so certainly stay tuned. But for now, we're live in Montreal, as they would say on this part of the world. Au revoir. Back to you, Italia.
All right, thanks so much, Jerome, for that in-depth reporting. Of course, we will continue to follow that story. Our Jerome Sawyer reporting live from Canada tonight. Well, the issue now has many concerned about the impact on trade and oil prices. Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkitis telling our Berthany McDermott today the government too is concerned and observant as they hope for a quick resolution before there's any serious impact.
The government is keeping an eye on oil prices following the ongoing war in the Middle East, according to Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkitis. The United States launched a surprise attack Sunday morning on 3 Iranian nuclear sites, and today, Iran retaliated with a missile attack on a U.S. military base in Qatar. Still, international reports say there were no casualties reported. With the Bahamas being heavily dependent on imports, Halkitis says the hope is that the ongoing tension ends sooner rather than later.
One of the first things that I did when I heard about the escalation and the conflict was look at the oil prices and see what the impact has been. They've trended up. They haven't spiked up, and so we are hopeful that there can be a resolution and that the conflict doesn't spread to the wider region and disrupt oil supplies.
Wars often lead to closure or destruction of key trade routes, making it difficult and expensive to trade goods. This can eventually end in a shortage of essential goods and an increase in costs for businesses. While it's unclear if trade routes have been impacted, international experts warn of the possible impact. The Economic Affairs Minister telling us talks of this have already begun swirling.
There are rumors about, for example, closing of certain shipping lanes. We are hopeful that that does not happen, because any increase in oil prices, immediately we feel it at the pump. We feel it, BPL will feel it in terms of their supply of fuel, and then that tends to get passed on to the consumer.
The harsh possibilities come as Bahamians are already facing rising costs and an overall increase in the cost of living. While the government searches for ways to ease the burden on the backs of Bahamians with new trade routes and tax cuts, external factors make efforts difficult. Despite the bad news, Halkitis says there's no need to panic.
Every once in a while you have these flare-ups that can cause some disruption. I think we monitor the developments. We do as much as we can to conserve our consumption. And as I said in my presentation today on the budget, this really brings home even more the importance and the urgency of us to move to more renewable sources of energy.
Reporting for our news, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks so much for that, Berthany. Meantime, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is responding to reports on social media regarding the interdiction of Iranians entering the United States. The statement reads, quote, "We have sought urgent clarification from the U.S. government about a social media post from a U.S. Congresswoman that Iranians and Russians were interdicted by the U.S. Coast Guard from the Bahamas trying to enter the U.S. unlawfully. At this time, no security agency of the Bahamas is aware of any such incident, and the ministry awaits a reply from the U.S. authorities." Well, police are looking into a shooting that happened this afternoon in the Big Pond area. We were told 2 men were hurt during the incident. Both of them survived and were taken to hospital. Right now, details are still limited, but investigations are continuing. A 28-year-old man is facing child porn charges after U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents allegedly found nude photos and videos of boys and girls in his phone. Travis Russell was arrested on June 19th at the Lyndon Pinling International Airport after his cell phone was searched during screening. Russell did not have to enter pleas to 3 counts of possession of child pornography when he stood before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Vo Evans. His bail was set at $9,000 and he returns to court on September 15th to receive voluntary bill of indictment papers. Well, a freak accident caused traffic delays on Tawny-Darlin Highway this morning after a cement truck flipped over. When our news team arrived, police were on the scene conducting their investigation. According to eyewitnesses, the truck reportedly suffered a brake failure before overturning. No other vehicles appeared to be involved in the incident. While official details on the driver's condition are still unclear, our news team did observe blood on the ground. Witnesses, however, say the driver appeared to be okay. A mobile crane had to be brought in to lift the overturned truck and clear the roadway. Well, warm weather to start the work week. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is live in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg, a busy Monday.
Yeah, warm, breezy, but still a very comfortable day around the islands today. 84 degrees outside our studios right now. As I said, warm and breezy conditions, east-northeast winds at 50 miles per hour. Feels like temperature is at 89. Satellite radar composite, we are quiet across the area. Surface high pressure still in charge, and that's helping to keep us with mostly stable conditions, but a little bit on the breezy side. Upper level disturbance across us, generating some showers. We will likely see this repeat tomorrow before we see an increase in some showers and thunderstorm activity by the middle to the end of the week. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come in our news, a shocking attack on a school principal has sparked outrage in Grand Bahama. The Education Ministry and the Managerial Union are both condemning the act. And later, former Member of Parliament Darren Henfield is sounding the alarm after reports of vandalism at a community center in North Abaco. That's all coming up when our news returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
They're blue for me and you, and I say to myself, what a wonderful world. Somewhere's Plaza, got it going on, yeah. Somewhere's Plaza, one-stop shopping is here. The family, community, for me. Southwest Plaza, come shop. with us. Shop, we've got so many stores. Shop, prices are right. Come spend the day, bring the family. Southwest Plaza, come shop with us.
In the Bahamas, island time is real. The history of Morris Lumber Company, established in 1945, is etched into the fabric of this proud island nation. It's a story that deserves to be celebrated in full color, and that's where we come in. Morris the Paint Place has been bringing color and vitality to homes and businesses across the Bahamas. Here, color is more than just a hue.
The Bahamas Educators Managerial Union is sounding the alarm after what it calls a disturbing and unacceptable attack on one of its members. The union confirming that Principal Simone Butler of McLeanstown Primary School in Grand Bahama was physically assaulted on campus last Friday. In response, President of the Bahamas Educators Managerial Union, Stephen McPhee, says violence against educators is unacceptable. The victim was treated at the hospital for her injuries and later released. The union president says he will continue to press officials to address safety concerns before classrooms reopen following the summer break.
I've been in communication with the Permanent Secretary and expressed a dire need for them during this summer break to strengthen safety protocols to the satisfaction of all for the new school year. BEMU members will not continue to work in what has surely become unsafe working environments. The union is not being reactive, but this has been a long time cry from the union. We plead with parents and others to engage with school administrators through respectful and lawful means, or be prepared to face the full force of the law.
While former North Abaco Member of Parliament Darren Henfield says they are disturbed about reports of vandalism at the Hurricane Shelter and Community Center in Abaco, the Disaster Risk Management Authority said the vandalism will not significantly delay the completion of the project. Officials said someone entered the building and defaced several interior walls and doors with spray paint and scattered insulation material over the floor and attempted to set it on fire. Henfield criticizing government for the center being incomplete years after ground was broken on the facility.
I got $1 million from Narendra Modi in 2019 at the General Assembly in New York to begin the center. The PLP added an additional several $1 million to the initial costings that we had, and the center still was not ready to be open this year for some 4 years on, 4 years, almost 5 years on, still wasn't ready to be open for this hurricane season. And now we've been set back even further.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Coming up in sports, the Liberty are taking an abundance of caution with JJ's ankle injury. In softball, Atlanta wanted all the smoke. An update from Bahamians in the Rangers farm system, and Freedom Farm dominates at Nationals again.
In the Bahamas, island time is real. The history of Morris Lumber Company, established in 1945, is etched into the fabric of this proud island nation. It's a story that deserves to be celebrated in full color, and that's where we come in. Morris the Paint Place has been bringing color and vitality to homes and businesses across the Bahamas. Here, color is more than just a hue, it's a symbol of life. Together, we can paint a brighter future.
Inti Corporation is on the move. Day by day, panel by panel, our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucayas solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. Inti is on the move as a beacon of progress and innovation that is rapidly transforming our energy landscape. Witness the future of sustainable energy unfolding on the island of Grand Bahama as Inti Corporation shines brighter than ever. Inti Corporation, powering your world, powering your future.
When the winds rise and the storm threatens, are you ready? This hurricane season, face the fury head-on. RTV's Storm Navigator with me, Jasmine Brown, and meteorologist Greg Thompson as we reveal the truth behind the storms with expert insights and life-saving tips. When the next storm threatens, will you be prepared? Because when nature unleashes its fury, knowledge is your strongest shield. Stay safe, stay informed, only on RTV.
Get ready for the new Charlie Banana Show. That's right, banana, B-A-N, Nana. You know how to spell banana. You know, right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212 every Friday night.
It's the Charlie Bahama Show. It's the season rewind of the Charlie Bahama Show right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. The New York Liberty's path to repeat as WNBA champions could have hit a major roadblock. The reigning finals MVP will be sidelined for several weeks. The Liberty announced that Jonquil Jones is officially out 4 to 6 weeks with a right ankle sprain. Imaging shows no long-term damage. Jones initially injured the ankle on June 3rd and was out for 12 days. During that time period, the Liberty lost their first game of the season. She re-injured the ankle on June 19th in another loss to the Phoenix Mercury. Jones has been a pillar for the Liberty, averaging 12 points, 9.6 boards, and shooting 44% from three-point range. Her defensive presence and rebounding have fueled New York's league-best defensive rating for the second consecutive year. Without Jones, the Liberty is hitting the road 4 cities in 9 games just ahead of the All-Star break.
Women's professional fast pitch began its 2025 season in the Bahamas, and the Atlanta Smoke emerged as the inaugural champions of the Queens of Paradise Series. The Smoke concluded the 3-game set against the Orlando Monarchs with a 9-1 win Saturday night at the Andre Rogers National Stadium. Fellow UCF Knight Jada Cody was named MVP after she finished 3 for 3, including a double and a 3-run home run. Carla Echoes also had 2 home runs for the Smoke. The Monarchs took Game 1 4-3, and the Smoke followed with a 10-0 win in Game 2, powered by 2 home runs from Morgan Howe.
We spotlight the production that Bahamian minor leaguers have had this season across various levels in the Texas Rangers pipeline. There are 4 Bahamians currently in the Rangers pipeline. Of course, you know number 1 overall, Sebastian Walcott, but the youngest duo are off to a promising start in the Dominican Summer League. Jalen Pinder has been riding an 8-game hit streak for the DSL Rangers Blue and has moved to the top of the lineup. Over the weekend, he went 2 for 3 against the DSL Twins on Friday, 2 for 5 against the DSL Pirates Gold on Saturday, and is hitting .333 through 39 at-bats this season. He has a .973 OPS with 1 home run, 5 stolen bases, 4 RBI, and has scored 10 runs. Dave Neely, also on the DSL Rangers Blue roster, is hitting .278 with 4 stolen bases and scored 4 runs with a .758 OPS. In the Arizona Complex League, Rashawn Pinder is on a 5-game hit streak and has hit 2 home runs over that time span. His last 2 games were multi-hit outings, 2 for 3 Friday night, which included a 3-run go-ahead homer in a 10-9 win over the ACL Mariners. In 107 at-bats, Pinder is hitting .308 with an .854 OPS, 2 home runs, 17 RBI, and has scored 17 runs.
The Bahamas Baseball Association concluded another edition of its Andre Rogers Jr. Nationals, and after 4 days of competition, bragging rights were decided for 2025. Nationals was once again a dominant show of force for the Freedom Farm Baseball League, who won gold in the under 8, under 10, and under 12 divisions in all matchups against the Grand Bahama Little League. The under 8 team won 13-0, the under 10 team won 8-1, while the under 12 team won 21-8. All 3 teams finished undefeated. GBLL was the only organization to have teams in the gold medal game of all 4 divisions. they took gold in the under-14 division by default over the Junior Baseball League of Nassau.
That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS. Okay, so JJ's hurt, but we're going to just change the narrative. She should still be an all-star because we see how important she is when she's not playing.
Agreed, and she needs the LeBron mentality. Just get me to the playoffs, and I'll do what I gotta do.
You say LeBron, that'll make some people out there very mad for no reason. Back to the studio.
When our news comes back from the break, light showers this weekend, but sunny weather to start off the work week. Greg is back with the extended weather forecast when our news continues. Stay with us.
Get ready for the new Charlie Banana Show. That's right, banana, B-A-N, Nana. You know how to spell banana. You know, right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212 every Friday night.
It's the Charlie Bahama Show. It's the season rewind of the Charlie Bahama Show right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212. Ain't no bananas in this, except he did try to get on the show. Hey, where'd you get this outfit from? Your closet.
When the winds rise and the storm threatens, are you ready? This hurricane season faced the fury head-on. RTV's storm navigator with me, Jasmine Brown, and meteorologist Greg Thompson as we reveal the truth behind the storms with expert insights and life-saving tips. When the next storm threatens, will you be prepared? Because when nature unleashes its fury, knowledge is your strongest shield. Stay safe, stay informed, only on RTV.
My name is Troy Williams. I've been a live fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on the services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot of back-end support, engineering support, helping clients working remotely when I'm from home. The internet is a very important aspect of my job and my life. My name is Trey Williams, and the future is home with a live fiber.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
Get ready for the new Charlie Banana Show. That's right, banana, B-A-N, Nana. You know how to spell banana. You know, right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212 every Friday night.
It's the Charlie Bahama Show. It's the season rewind of the Charlie Bahama Show right here on Cable Bahamas Channel 212. Ain't no bananas in this, except he did try to get on the show. Hey, where'd you get this outfit from? Your closet.
My name is Troy Williams. I've been a live fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had,
This is our news. Welcome back. We are closing out June, quiet in the tropics. We have one area that the National Hurricane Center is continuing to monitor, well out there in the open Atlantic. Not going to see much in terms of any development. It's moving into an area that's hostile for development, cold water and some sharing, and we will continue to watch that one. Probably not going to hear anything about that tomorrow, but some energy from that will drift across the area by midweek. That's going to help us to see some increase in cloudiness as well as some shower activity. You'll see that in our future forecast, but the remainder of the tropics, quiet, and things are going to be quiet for the end of June. Taking a look at our future forecast, as I mentioned, upper level disturbance drifting towards us, bringing some of the moisture across our area by Wednesday, Thursday time frame. So an uptick in some shower activity is expected during that time frame as well. Boating forecast, not very good on the waters. Caution flag for you in the northwest and central Bahamas. Easterly winds 50 knots, 3 to 5 foot seas, while in the southeast Bahamas, east to southeast, east northeast, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, 4 to 6 foot seas expected. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, as I mentioned, that upper level disturbance moving close to us, uptick in some showers. Temperatures will stay near the 90-degree mark during the day, mid to upper 70s at night. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
All right, thanks so much, Greg, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.
Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the team you already trust. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the